Hello, and welcome to Quiet Nights, your gentle retreat into a world of calm and tranquility. Tonight, we invite you to unwind with a soothing story, crafted to ease your mind and guide you toward a restful night's sleep. But before we begin, take a deep, unhurried breath, and then another. Feel the weight of the day slowly melt away, like soft clouds drifting across the evening sky. Let go of any lingering thoughts, any tension that still clings to you. There's no rush, no expectations, only this quiet moment, just for you. As you listen, let the rhythm of the words lull you into a state of peaceful relaxation. Now close your eyes, settle in, and let the whispers of the night carry you away. Welcome to Quiet Nights. In an age veiled by time, a young woman named Alara dwelt amidst rolling hills and quiet fields, sharing a modest life with her mother, father, and a cluster of younger siblings. Her parents, gentle souls rooted in the earth, coaxed a living from the land, their days a rhythm of toil and simple sustenance. Every child contributed, their small hands learning the ways of the farm and the hearth. Yet seasons of scarcity still visited their door. Ilara, being the eldest, shouldered burdens beyond her years with quiet grace, beyond the endless cycles of washing, the simmer of cooking pots, and the watchful tending of little ones. Her free moments were devoted to the tireless transformation of fleece into thread. Clothing a large family demanded this constant industry. Through winter's chill, she favored the comforting glow of the cottage's old stone hearth, her small white feline companion coiled near her slippers, the spindle humming a soft counterpoint to the crackling flames. But when warmth returned, painting the world green, she craved the open air. Alara would seek solace beneath the sprawling arms of an ancient oak or beside the murmuring conversation of a nearby stream. There, bathed in sunlight, amidst the flit of cheerful butterflies and the sweet chorus of birdsong, she spun, murmuring melodies to herself, losing track of time until duty called again. Never a word of complaint escaped her lips. Patience and kindness were the threads woven into her interactions with parents and siblings alike, even when fatigue weighed heavy upon her. One resplendent summer afternoon found Alara perched upon the flat, sun-warmed stones of the well adjacent to their cottage, her spindle dancing deftly in her hands. The air hung thick with the fragrance of blooming flowers and the lazy drone of bees exploring the garden. Her drowsy cat sprawled like a patch of white snow on the green grass near her feet. Not far off, framed in the cottage doorway, her youngest brother and sister meticulously arranged a collection of pebbles into intricate patterns. From within, carried on the warm air, drifted the metallic clink of Mama Elspeth in the kitchen, likely orchestrating the evening meal. Lost in the beauty of the day, Alara spun with focused intensity, singing softly, determined to conjure just a little more precious yarn before the livestock required her attention. Glancing up momentarily, her eyes met those of Old Man Hemlock from the neighboring farm, trudging along the road with his faithful dog. He lifted a hand in weathered greeting. Smiling, Alara shifted her spindle to her lap, raising her own hand in return. Alas, in that fleeting gesture. A careless nudge sent the spindle skittering sideways. It tumbled from her grasp, vanishing into the well's dark throat. Alara lunged, fingers grasping at empty air, the spindle already swallowed by the depths. Hoping against hope, it had snagged on a protruding stone near the surface. She leaned precariously over the well's mouth, peering into the cool shadows. Nothing. Desperate not to concede the loss of the vital tool, she stretched just an inch further. Balance deserted her. With a gasp, she pitched forward, head first, into the abyss. The descent was a peculiar passage, devoid of the expected fear. Instead of scraping stone or damp earth, she felt herself adrift, sailing through an indeterminate space. Time itself seemed suspended in the encompassing darkness. Yet, looking down towards her feet, she perceived distant, twinkling points of light, like stars scattered across a velvet void. They remained infinitely far, yet their number swelled until she seemed to be soaring feet first into a dazzling celestial expanse. Alara reached downward, instinctively trying to touch the glittering starlight, only to find herself inverted, the stars now blazing overhead. A rushing sound, like a mighty river's roar, filled her ears, accompanied by a cool, swift current of air washing over her. Down, down she plunged, an overwhelming drowsiness settling behind her eyes. Then oblivion claimed her. Consciousness returned to find her nestled in a meadow painted with wildflowers, gazing up at an uninterrupted canvas of azure sky. Sitting up, she scanned her surroundings. No well yawned above or below. It was as if she had simply materialized in this vibrant, unfamiliar landscape. Testing limbs and finding herself whole, even remarkably refreshed as if from a profound slumber, Alara stood. The lush green field stretched away, bordered on all sides by whispering woodlands. Centered in this expanse stood a small house, a tendril of smoke curling lazily from its chimney. No sign of life, human or animal, stirred in the yard. A profound curiosity settled upon her. Standing idle offered no solution. The little house represented the sole prospect of aid. Alara resolved to approach it, striking out across the meadow, her path weaving through tall grasses where delicate butterflies danced on unseen currents. Reaching the dwelling, she found the front door standing ajar. Hesitant to intrude, she circled the exterior cautiously. Deserted. Returning to the open doorway, she peered into the gloom within and called out, "Hello? Is anyone home?" Silence answered. As her eyes adjusted, she discerned a large oven radiating warmth from a banked fire. A table nearby lay strewn with blossoms. In a corner rested barrels, hinting at stored provisions. It possessed the distinct air of a bakery. While Alara pondered her next move, faint melodic voices seemed to emanate from the vicinity of the oven. Believing her senses tricked her, perhaps from the fall, she edged closer, tilting her head. Clearer now, the voices chimed. "Greetings. Pray, release us from the oven. Our baking is complete for the grand feast." She recoiled. Surely she'd struck her head. How could bread converse? Yet The sweet chorus repeated, "Greetings, pray, release us from the oven. Our baking is complete for the grand feast." A quandary indeed. Entering a stranger's home and interfering with their baking felt deeply improper. Yet the thought of perfectly good loaves burning to cinders spurred her practical spirit. Surely the baker would appreciate the intervention. Her innate sensibility conquering her reluctance, Alara located the long wooden paddle leaning beside the oven. Opening the heavy door, she beheld a row of beautiful golden brown loaves baked to perfection. With practiced movements, she used the paddle to retrieve each one, arranging them carefully on the table to cool. Closing the oven door and replacing the paddle, she surveyed the cooling bread with quiet satisfaction, the air now thick with its glorious aroma. Tempting as it was, a less principled soul might have claimed a loaf as fair compensation. Alara, however, left the bread untouched. This place offered no answers, and she knew she must press on. Reluctantly, she stepped back out of the fragrant cottage. From the doorway, a faint, lightly trodden path led away from the house and into the embrace of the trees, suggesting frequent passage. Following this trail seemed the most logical course. She turned her steps toward the woods. It was an inviting woodland tapestry, not overly dense, allowing sunlight to filter through the gently rustling canopy, dappling the forest floor in shifting pools of light. Squirrels performed arboreal acrobatics high above, and birdsong filled the air with cheerful melodies. The path meandered pleasantly, winding across diminutive streams, bridged by mossy stones and skirting lichen-clad tree trunks. Though uncertain of her destination, Alara's heart remained light. She found herself humming softly, enjoying the sylvan tranquility of her walk. After some time, the path led her into a sunlit grove dominated by apple trees. Fatigue began to settle upon her, so she sank down beneath one of the trees to rest. Leaning her head back against the sturdy trunk, she closed her eyes, immersing herself in the forest's subtle symphony. The twittering birds, the drone of insects, the occasional scurry of a squirrel through the leaves. Sleep beckoned, soft and insistent. But just as she hovered on the edge of slumber, voices intruded. Opening her eyes, she listened intently. The sound resolved into words. "Greetings. We are burdened with ripeness. Shake our boughs. Let the ready apples fall for the harvest." Having already encountered talking bread, Alara found herself more receptive to this new marvel in a day defined by strangeness. With time no constraint and nowhere pressing to be, she readily complied. Moving from tree to tree, she shook each one diligently until the ground beneath was carpeted with fallen fruit. Such untidiness offended her nature. Gathering the apples into the apron of her skirt, she carefully stacked them in neat piles at the base of each tree, taking care not to bruise a single one. Her task in the orchard complete, she resumed her journey along the trail, leaving the bounty untouched. The harvest, after all, was not hers to claim. Leaving the apple grove behind, a deeper weariness began to permeate Alara's limbs. She had lost track of how long she'd walked, but the slanted light filtering through the trees and her own lengthening shadow signaled the afternoon's decline. Nightfall was approaching, stirring a flicker of anxiety. Where was she? Where might she find shelter? As these worries clouded her thoughts, the path emerged abruptly from the woods. Before her, a languid river flowed through a wide clearing. In the distance, beyond the water, rose the silhouette of a mountain. The beauty of the scene momentarily stole her breath. Down by the riverbank stood a tidy little cottage, enclosed by a crisp white picket fence. Impressive garden beds flanked the dwelling, and nearby, goats and sheep grazed peacefully. A snowy white eiderdown quilt aired on a long clothesline, gleaming in the late afternoon sun. A delicate plume of smoke ascended from the stone chimney, dissolving into the pink and gold tapestry of the evening sky. Summoning her courage, Alara approached the welcoming abode. Hope fluttered within her, perhaps a morsel of food, a place near the fire to rest her weary body. She reached the gate, opened it carefully, stepped through, and secured the latch behind her. A path of gray flagstones led between burgeoning garden beds to an arched front door, painted a cheerful cherry red. Pausing for a heartbeat, she knocked. A square peephole slid open, slightly below her eye level, startling her. Bending slightly, she peered into the opening and met an inquisitive gaze. "May I assist you?" a woman's voice inquired, tinged with caution. "Yes, greetings. My name is Alara," she began hesitantly. "I find myself quite lost. I was hoping, might you spare a little food and perhaps offer a small space anywhere where I could sleep for the night?" The eye observed her for what felt like an age. Then the peephole snapped shut, and the entire door swung inward. Standing in the threshold was an elder woman whose face held a gentle wisdom. She wore attire woven from honest cloth, protected by a work apron. Her long silver hair swept back into a neat, practical bun. Squinting at Alara, she retrieved a whimsical pair of wire-rimmed spectacles from her apron pocket and saddled them on her nose. A broad smile illuminated her features. "Well now, my dear," the woman said, her voice warm. "Company is a rare visitor here. If you wouldn't mind lending a hand with a few tasks about the place, I'd be most grateful. In return, I'm happy to share what little I possess." A wave of relief washed over Alara. "Oh yes, gladly," she responded earnestly. "I am quite capable with chores and would be deeply thankful for your kindness." "Excellent," the woman replied. "Best come inside then. The day grows late. You need sustenance and rest. The work can wait for the morrow. There's always plenty. A moment's pause, then. A pleasure to meet you, Alara. You may call me Dame Hulda. Turning, Dame Hulda beckoned Ilara to follow. Ilara stepped over the threshold into a space barely taller than herself, closing the door behind her. The interior comprised a single large room. To her left stood a table with 2 chairs. Nearby, kitchen implements rested on a short counter. Across the room, a bed awaited the return of the eiderdown Ilara had seen airing outside. 2 rocking chairs flanked the hearth. A sewing basket nestled between them. Over the large stone fireplace, a pot simmered, releasing the most tantalizing aroma of stew Ilara had ever encountered. The scent reminded her sharply of her hunger. She didn't wait long. Dame Hulda settled her near the fire and ladled out a hearty bowl of the fragrant stew. They ate in companionable silence as twilight deepened outside, the flickering firelight dancing on the walls. After the meal, Dame Hulda requested she fetch the eiderdown from the line. No need to shake it now, she instructed. I attended to that this morning. Alara ventured into the garden's deepening shadows, retrieved the surprisingly light quilt, and brought it inside to place upon the bed. Afterward, she helped Dame Hulda wash the dishes and tidy the kitchen, without probing questions about Ilara's origins or destination. The kind old woman retrieved a blanket and pillow from a wooden chest and prepared a comfortable pallet for the tired young woman near the hearth. Sleep now, Dame Hulda said warmly. Tomorrow will be a busy day. The fire's gentle dance was hypnotic, comforting. Gratefully, Ilara lay down on the makeshift bed. The distant hoot of an owl and the occasional bleat of a goat were the only sounds breaking the stillness. Within moments, she sank into a profound, dreamless slumber. Ilara awoke with the dawn, feeling more rested than she could ever recall. Following a simple breakfast, she eagerly awaited Dame Hulda's instructions. Many tasks were familiar echoes of her farm life: tending goats, sheep, and chickens, washing, cleaning. Dame Hulda, clearly advancing in years and finding the upkeep increasingly challenging, expressed delight at having capable young hands to help. With Ilara's enthusiastic assistance, the cottage soon gleamed with tidiness. One chore, however, Dame Hulda emphasized with particular gravity. Each morning, she instructed Ilara, you must take the eiderdown from my bed, carry it outside, and agitate it with great energy. Shake it until the small feathers fly free, restoring its lightness and loft. This is of utmost importance. Do you understand? Ilara nodded solemnly, accepting the peculiar instruction without question. Daily, she shook the eiderdown vigorously, watching the tiny white feathers drift into the air. Some floated away on the breeze, ascending towards the sky. Others settled softly nearby. Then she would return the snowy quilt to the clothesline to air until evening. The first day bled into the next. Ilara, having nowhere else to go, and finding genuine contentment in assisting Dame Hulda, remained. The old woman, in turn, clearly cherished the company and the help. Soon, a comfortable, companionable routine settled over the cottage. Several weeks after Alara's arrival, Dame Hulda introduced a new duty. I have another significant task for you. Take my watering can, she said, indicating a large vessel with a long spout resting in a corner, and water my garden plots. Ensure no corner is missed. Shower the water generously, coaxing the seeds into a beautiful harvest. Alara embraced this responsibility diligently. She filled the can repeatedly, ensuring a drenching shower reached every inch of the prepared earth. This became a daily ritual, and soon the garden responded with vibrant life. One section burst forth with glorious tulips, irises, and daffodils. Another yielded crisp lettuces, sharp green onions, robust cabbages, and peppery radishes. Dame Hulda possessed a remarkable gift for cultivation. Alara's watering seemed all that was needed for the garden to flourish. Time, measured by the rhythm of chores and the turning seasons within Dame Hulda's haven, passed swiftly and contentedly for Ilara. Yet, after many months had flowed by, a pensiveness began to shadow her demeanor. She grew quiet during their evenings by the fire, her mending often lying idle in her lap, as her gaze drifted toward some unseen distance. Dame Hulda, observant and kind, eventually inquired what troubled her. "Oh, Dame Hulda," Alara sighed, "you have shown me such kindness, and I truly cherish helping you here. But truth be told, a yearning for my family, for my home, has begun to ache within me. I miss them dearly, and I have no notion how to find my way back. I am homesick, wishing desperately I could somehow return up the well where I lost my spindle." Dame Hulda listened with gentle sympathy. Then, reaching into the sewing basket beside her chair, she produced the very spindle Ilara had pursued on that fateful day. Ilara gasped, astonished. "My spindle! However did you come by it?" Dame Hulda's green eyes sparkled with knowing amusement. "It landed in my garden, my dear, for you see, I am the nexus between your world and this realm. Little occurs here without my awareness." Leaning forward, Ilara took the familiar weight of the spindle into her hand. Then you must know the way home. Can you guide me?" Dame Hulda leaned back in her rocker, folding her hands serenely in her lap, her gaze warm over the rim of her spectacles. "You are a good soul, Alara, and your presence will be missed, but it is right that you return to your kin now. Take one more night of peaceful rest, and I shall set you on your path at first light." Joy surged through Alara, so potent she doubted sleep would come, yet she was mistaken. Happily, tucking the long-lost spindle into her pocket, she settled onto her pallet by the fire. Once again, the magical tranquility of Dame Hulda's cottage, the crackling flames, and the owl's nocturnal calls lulled her swiftly into deep restorative slumber. At sunrise, Ilara folded her bedding neatly, placing it back in the wooden chest. Then she took Dame Hulda's eiderdown outside for one final vigorous shaking before hanging it upon the line. "Thank you, my child," the old woman said, emerging from the cottage carrying a woven basket. "This is for you." Lifting the lid, Ilara saw the basket was laden with beautiful, ripe apples and loaves of warm, freshly baked bread. Dame Hulda continued, her voice gentle but resonant. "During your time here, your help has been invaluable. You rescued the baking when the oven called, and I was occupied elsewhere. You gathered the apples when the trees groaned under their weight, and my attention was diverted. Each day you shook the eiderdown until the feathers took flight. And finally, you nurtured my garden with water until it thrived." Humbled by the praise, Ilara shook her head. "But those were simple tasks, Dame Hulda. Anyone could have performed them." The old woman smiled kindly. "Those simple tasks, my dear, are the very fabric of the seasons. The tending of the oven and the baking of bread bring forth the glorious warmth of summer days. The shaking of the trees announces the arrival of autumn. Every time you send the feathers flying from my eiderdown, delicate snowflakes drift down upon your world. And when you carefully water my garden, you awaken life, beginning the cycle anew." She gestured towards the basket, now resting on Ilara's arm. "This hamper shall never empty. Your family will share in the rewards of your diligence and kindness. You took no bread when you were hungry. You ate no apples from the harvest. Now I give them freely to you." Tears welled in Ilara's eyes, moved by this extraordinary gift that promised comfort and sustenance for her family for years to come. She embraced Dame Hulda tightly, thanking her with heartfelt gratitude. Then, remembering her uncertainty, she asked, "Where must I go now?" "To find the path back from the well." Dame Hulda turned, gesturing towards the river flowing nearby. "You arrived through water. Through water you shall return. Follow the river upstream. Walk for some hours, and you will reach a great stone bridge. Cross over that bridge. The moment your foot touches the far bank, you will be home." A pang of sadness touched Ilara. "Will I ever be able to return to see you again?" Dame Hulda clucked her tongue with gentle finality. "No, my child. Your journey here was a unique passage, not to be repeated. But I promise you this. Whenever you feel the sun's warmth upon your face, watch the apples tumble in the autumn breeze. Witness the silent descent of snowflakes upon the land, or hear the soft rain nourishing your spring garden. Know that I am there, connected to your world through these very acts." Ilara embraced Dame Hulda one last time, then passed through the little white gate, turning to wave as she made her way down to the river's edge and began her upstream journey. Soon, Dame Hulda's cozy cottage seemed to dissolve into the landscape, vanishing as if it had only ever existed in a dream. Ilara walked beside the river for what felt like many hours. It was a beautiful waterway, alive with foaming rapids and sparkling cascades, tumbling over smooth, ancient stones. When the sun reached its zenith, she paused beneath a shady willow, partaking of the basket's bounty, a piece of the miraculously warm bread, a crisp, sweet apple. Both were exquisite. Continuing onward as the afternoon shadows lengthened, she finally spied it in the distance, a magnificent stone bridge arching gracefully across the entire breadth of the river, looking as though it had stood for centuries. Recognizing her destination, Ilara navigated the tall grasses at the water's edge and stepped onto the bridge with a hesitant breath, half expecting some sudden transformation. Nothing occurred. She walked steadily across the worn stones. Reaching the midpoint, she paused, setting down her basket. Turning, she gazed back the way she had come. Dame Hulda's cottage was lost to distance, but the vista was breathtaking, the river snaking towards the horizon, flanked by woodland and the distant mountain. Below, the water flowed deep and tranquil. Taking one last look at the cloudless sky above, Ilara retrieved her basket and walked towards the bridge's end. As she reached the threshold between the bridge and the far bank, she held her breath. One foot landed on solid ground. Nothing changed. A flicker of doubt touched her. Perhaps the magic wouldn't hold. Closing her eyes tightly, gripping the basket, she took the final step. A rushing sound filled her ears, the roar of a great river, and a cool current of air washed over her, just as it had in the well's descent. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in the familiar yard of her own home. Joyful cries erupted. Her family surged around her, time having marched steadily onward during her months-long absence. Hands reached out, voices overlapped, everyone eager to embrace their beloved Ilara, to hear the tale of her mysterious disappearance. Relief flooded Ilara as she returned their hugs, truly home at last. That evening, gathered by the familiar hearth, she recounted the wondrous story of Dame Hulda and her magical realm to an enthralled audience of siblings. Afterward, the entire family shared a hearty feast, courtesy of the miraculous basket of bread and apples, which, true to Dame Hulda's promise, showed no sign of diminishing. Ilara resumed her familiar chores, but now with a deeper understanding, undertaking them gladly, for she had witnessed firsthand how the steady rhythm of diligent, honest work truly helped turn the world. And from that day forward, whenever Ilara heard the gentle patter of rain upon the roof, or sat by the window with her spindle, watching feathery snowflakes drift lazily down to blanket the earth, she smiled, knowing that somewhere Dame Hulda was busy, her eiderdown receiving its daily, essential fluffing, just as it should be. Resonance shivers through the air, a bell's declaration finding you amidst the clatter of porcelain on cafe tables. Along this narrow, brick-paved artery of central Bordeaux, where the only traffic flows on foot or bicycle. The murmur of conversation drifts from sidewalk sanctuaries, a gentle counterpoint to the bell's echoing toll. Towards Lucien, your cicerone for this second day, plumbing the depths of the historic city, you navigate. That very resonance, no mere happenstance, emanates from your destination, the rendezvous point itself, the Grosse Cloche, the Great Bell, they call it, a sentinel among France's most ancient belfries, a cherished emblem of Bordeaux. Lifting your gaze, you find it commanding the street's end, perfectly framed between elegant facades. Echoes of another medieval gatehouse seen earlier surface, that same storybook silhouette, tall and slender, a bastion of formidable stone crowned with turreted rounds. Below, a majestic archway pierces its base, confirming its ancient function. A portal through the defensive ramparts that once encircled Bordeaux in tumultuous medieval times. Yet this portal distinguishes itself. High above, suspended within an aperture carved 2/3 of its height, hangs the colossal bell itself, the very instrument whose vibrations just now rippled through the quarter, announcing its ceremonial monthly toll, and, precisely, announcing your appointed hour with Lucien, a meeting timed with thoughtful precision to catch this resonant greeting from a safe distance. Beneath the solid stone arch, cloaked in shadow, he awaits. Lucian's stance holds an easy alertness. A warm greeting flows, his eyes alight, mirroring the appreciation dawning on your face. You witness the spark ignite, the pure joy of unfurling the intricate tapestry of his beloved city's past. After the requisite pleasantries, Lucien dives into his element, a raconteur weaving historical threads and human moments into narratives that bloom vividly in the mind's theater. His first gesture directs your eye skyward, to the weather vane pirouetting at the pinnacle. A lion, he notes, emblem of English royalty. For this gatehouse rose, he explains, during an era when Bordeaux answered to the English crown. You recall the chronicles. The city, heart of the independent Duchy of Aquitaine, fell under English sway when its duchess, the formidable Eleanor, wed the English heir. 3 centuries this English connection endured, severed only by the protracted agonies of the 100 Years' War, which ultimately bound Bordeaux to France. Though undeniably defensive, Lucien imparts with a conspiratorial smile. Locals centuries past nicknamed it the Hôtel du Lion d'Or, the Golden Lion Hotel, a jest inspired by that regal weather vane. It's these intimate details, delivered in his melodic cadence, that ensnare the imagination. For a fleeting instant, the phantom echoes of guardsmen's boisterous laughter seem to ricochet off the ancient stones. Together, you step from sunlight into the cool embrace of the archway's depths. Set within the time-burnished yellowish stone, an engraved plaque catches the eye. Lucian directs your focus here. It offers a translation of the Latin verses etched upon the great bell itself, a poetic inventory of its duties. Lucian murmurs his own rendition, a soft recitation. My voice summons arms, announces the days, marks the hours, dispels the tempest, rings for feasts, proclaims the fire. And indeed, it fulfilled these roles, its clangor rousing the citizenry, against assault or the ravages of flame. Emerging from the archway's passage, you step back into the sun's benevolent warmth to regard the Grosse Cloche from its opposite flank. Here, a slender pedestrian precinct unfolds, terminating abruptly where a broader, contemporary avenue pulses with the ceaseless current of automobiles gliding over dark asphalt, carrying Bordeaux's present-day inhabitants onward. In these modern times, Lucienne explains, the great bell's voice is reserved for select ceremonial moments, alongside its noon chime on the first Sunday of every month. Its potent peal salutes the new year and marks 4 other significant dates. 3 resonate with the echoes of global conflicts fought on this very soil, events indelibly etched into the region's recent memory. November 11th, Armistice of the Great War. May 8th, Victory in Europe Day for the Second World War. And August 28th, the anniversary of Bordeaux's own liberation. The 4th occasion is July 14th, Bastille Day to Anglophones, commemorating the revolutionary spark that consumed the monarchy and heralded the republic. From the avenue behind, the soft sibilance of tires on asphalt drifts into your awareness. Sunlight bathes you, instilling a profound sense of contentment, a quietude allowing the mind to roam. Here, history feels less like a subject studied and more like a palpable current. The unbroken thread of human existence seems almost tangible, where antiquity and modernity embrace so seamlessly. Low metallic bollards demarcate this car-free haven, guardians retractable for authorized passage. Underfoot, stone pavers laid in a captivating, traditional design replace the asphalt. Nearby, a woman frames a shot. 2 children beaming before the bell tower's ancient might. A pair of youths, likely students, amble by, one guiding a cobalt blue bicycle with unhurried grace. Their passage subtly draws your eye to an unexpected detail. A dozen vibrant bicycles arrayed neatly beside a shop entrance, a cycle store presumably, lending a note of quotidian charm to this venerable space. The impromptu photo session concludes. The children's bright chatter fades as they skip onward. Lucian's voice resumes beside you. The gatehouse holds its tales, he says, but so too does the bell within, or rather, the bells, plural, for many have occupied this ancient monument over the centuries. He recounts an episode from 5 centuries past, shortly after Bordeaux swore fealty to France. A displeased French monarch confiscated the city's bell as punishment for insurrection. Years later, its return served as a reward for renewed loyalty. That particular bell, a victim of royal pique, vanished long ago into history's mists. The current resident, however, is itself venerable, cast in 1775, on the very cusp of American independence. Now, however, Lucian guides you from this medieval vestige towards a broader perspective. You pivot, facing the asphalt expanse, its steady stream of vehicles. This thoroughfare, wider than the labyrinthine lanes of the old quarter, boasts generous sidewalks shaded by mature, leafy plane trees. It pulses with contemporary energy, yet history's signature remains inscribed everywhere. Elegant edifices of warm, honeyed stone, adorned with intricate wrought iron balconies, reminiscent of Parisian grandeur, flank the way. Beneath the dappled canopy of the trees, you meander, absorbing the street's rhythm, the faces passing by, the architectural splendor. One building arrests your progress. Its large rectangular windows peer out from behind decorative ironwork. Its stone facade wears elaborate carvings like jewelry. Twin columns flank a monumental arched portal, within which rests a double door of lustrous, intricately carved wood. You halt, captivated by its sheer artistry. Above this magnificent entryway, chiseled into the stone in graceful script, Université de Bordeaux. A small gasp escapes you at the beauty dedicated to learning. Then onward you proceed, Lucien steering you gently toward the day's next chapter. There's no rush. You both understand that simply traversing these timeless streets, observing, absorbing, is the experience. Your breathing finds a gentle rhythm. Your steps synchronize effortlessly. Soon, you arrive at Rue Sainte Catherine, lauded as Europe's most extensive pedestrian thoroughfare. Turning onto it, you're instantly enveloped by its potent charm. A vibrant current of humanity flows along this delightful shopping artery, some purposeful on errands, others indulging in unhurried ambles, all seemingly immersed in the pleasure of the moment. And why not? The street's intrinsic beauty rivals the magnetic draw of its enticing boutiques. Underfoot, glossy beige tiles cut into diamonds and gleam, bordered by contrasting squares of gray stone. A pleasant scuffing of countless souls accompanies the ambient blend of voices. A young woman drifts past, laden with shopping parcels on one arm, a vibrant bouquet clutched in the other. From the opposite direction, an elderly gentleman approaches, a slender baguette protruding jauntily from a peculiar cloth satchel slung over his shoulder. A bag, you muse, uniquely fashioned for this singular, delicious purpose. Following this captivating promenade, another imposing arch looms ahead, signaling Rue Sainte Catherine's culmination. This structure, the Porte d'Aquitaine, bears little resemblance to the Grosse Cloche, where your day began. Its vault soars higher, unattached to any castellated medieval fortress. It stands alone, a triumphal arch erected in the 18th century, long after the city's ancient ramparts had yielded to progress. Through its opening, perfectly framed, rises a slender obelisk presiding over a vast square. This, Lucien confirms, is the Place de la Victoire, Victory Square. Passing beneath the arch's impressive span, you emerge onto an expansive cobblestone expanse. White stones trace diamond patterns, radiating outward from the central obelisk. This intriguing monument, crafted from so-called red marble that appears weathered to a soft, roseate hue, is partnered by a colossal bronze turtle facing steadfastly away. Both obelisk and turtle, Lucien explains, are relatively recent installations, conceived to celebrate Bordeaux's profound connection to viticulture. The turtle symbolizes the industry's patient, inexorable growth since Roman times brought treasured vines millennia ago. In eras past, this wide-open space functioned as bustling fairgrounds just beyond the city walls. Today, it thrives with contemporary life. Figures wander, lounge near the obelisk's base. A cluster of youths engages in earnest discussion, and cyclists trace silent paths across the historic stones. Lucien suggests a pause, gesturing towards a cafe bordering the square. Would a refreshment be welcome? You assent eagerly. He guides you to a neat alignment of inviting chairs beneath the generous shade of crimson parasols. You settle into the comfortable embrace of woven vinyl. Presently, a waiter, distinguished by a pristine apron, materializes. You request a menthe à l'eau. This quintessential French refresher, sweet mint syrup, stirred into chilled mineral water, is a personal delight. Its appeal lies partly in its invigorating coolness, especially welcome on a warm afternoon like this, but predominantly in its unique character. For you, it's a liquid distillation of the Midi, instantly conjuring the essence of this sun-drenched region. The waiter returns bearing your drink in a tall, elegant glass. The liquid within glows a startling emerald green. The glass itself appears frosted, beaded with condensation. A clean, exhilarating, minty fragrance rises to meet you. You inhale deeply. The first sip delivers a wave of pure, cool relief across your palate. Around you, a polyglot symphony unfolds as conversations in diverse tongues eddy and swirl on the afternoon air. Closing your eyes for a moment, you simply listen. The disparate voices, the cadence of unfamiliar languages, seem to coalesce into a single, unified human expression, one you feel intuitively on the verge of comprehending. French flows from several tables, naturally. Close by, the melodic rise and fall suggests Italian. The word Bordeaux surfaces, uttered with something akin to reverence. Further away, a fragment of English praises the magnificent square. From another direction drift the gentle, musical tones of a Nordic language. Yet beneath the surface variations, a common current resonates, threads of enthusiasm, of hope, of sheer admiration for the human artistry surrounding you all. This shared energy, this collective appreciation, forms the composite voice you sense so profoundly. Its meaning, its emotion, resonates deep within, echoing the enduring human story, shared not only by these travelers from across the globe, but by all the generations whose lives and narratives permeate this ancient place. You draw a slow, deliberate breath, acknowledging a connection, a profound knowing that settles into your core. A sense of unity washes over you, with this vibrant present, with the immense sweep of time. And as you exhale, a perfect peace descends, grounding you utterly in this place, this moment, within the unfolding story of Bordeaux.